the co-host and producer of Smack Talk, Scott McAfee. Are you here, Scott? There he is. So we're going to Scott come over here. Wonderful. There you go, sir.
So Jesus walks into a bar, sits down at the bar, and looks to his right and sees a Republican who's blind. He walks over to the Republican, lays his hands on him, and heals him. The Republican says, "Thank you, Jesus, for restoring my sight." Jesus sits back down at the bar, looks to his left and sees an independent voter who's deaf. Walks over to the independent voter, lays his hands on him, and heals him. The independent voter says, "Thank you, Jesus, for restoring my hearing." Jesus sits back down in the bar and looks in the far corner and sees a Democrat who's crippled. He walks over to the Democrat, and the Democrat says, "Don't you dare lay your hands on me. I'm collecting disability." First of all, I want to say I am honored to speak before you, and I want to be very clear. I have done nothing to deserve this honor. I feel like Obama when he picked up that Nobel Peace Prize. Neither one of us have done anything to deserve this. Any Catholics in the group? All right, peace be with you. That's what the Catholics say. I'm not Catholic, my wife is, but I've been to more Catholic masses than the Pope, okay? And by the way, I'm also an usher in the church. That's true. So I told my wife, my job is to put Catholics in their place, right? So, but she corrects me, she says, "Babe, it's pronounced Beelzebub, not Beelzebub." So the next time I'm on the air the following weekend, I publicly apologize to Hillary Clinton for calling her Beelzebub. I meant to call her Beelzebub. Because I think if you're going to, insult somebody, you should do that correctly. Also, since I've been on the radio, I can't tell you how many offers I've had to be a political commentator on major television news networks. And the reason I can't tell you how many offers I've had is because I haven't had any. But I'm sure that, hang on, let me check. No messages yet. Okay. I'm sure that'll be coming any day now. I would like to start with a quote, though, that I was looking for a quote that kind of encompassed my emotion after the November 8th election, and I found one, and I'd like to share that with you now. And this is actually from the great WWF wrestler Ric Flair. Okay, and I quote, "Woo! Woo! Woo!" And that's the end of the quote. Thank you. So I think fair to say this was the most unbelievable political event of our lifetimes. Would you agree with that? Yeah, I mean, for me, look, this is kind of surreal because, look, in 2012, we expected to win and we lost. This time we expected to lose and we won, right? And it's the whole thing's surreal to me, and I actually have a background in psychology. I did a master's thesis on the use of humor in psychotherapy, but I'm looking at this going, I'm waking up like, I can't believe this is real. I mean, it's almost like, I think in the real world, Hillary Clinton won. The real me is in a mental institution somewhere in restraints, and all of you are kind of part of this hallucination, this defense mechanism that I had to create to kind of cope, because it just seems too good to be true, right? I mean, and I'm also thinking, when is this high gonna wear off? Because, every day I'm like, I can't believe it, right? I mean, I'm driving on the freeway and somebody cuts me off and I'm like, you son of a, and then I stop, wait a minute, Trump's the president. Peace be with you. Peace be with you, my son. And I was actually at work at my bike shop, and I was pissed off about something or other, and one of my employees, because I was being kind of a grouch, one of my employees says, "Hey boss, chill, Trump's the president." And I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. They know how to work me now. They know that, hey, the boss is being a jerk. You just tell him that, and he snaps right out of it. But I want you to consider the political and social forces that were against us. It is absolutely staggering. I wrote them down because I could fill up a phone book of all the forces that were against this from happening. So they had the left. They had Lady Gaga, George Clooney, Madonna, Bon Jovi, Bruce Springsteen, Mark Schmuckerberg, and Fake Book. They had Beyonce. They had CBS, NBC, ABC, MSNBC, which I call MSNBS. But who did we have? We had Chachi. We didn't have Joni and Chachi. We just had Chachi. And what the sad part about that is if you're less than 50 years old, you don't know who the hell Scott Baio is, because I don't think he's worked in like 30 years. And it almost seems to me, I don't know if you believe it almost seems like Trump's already the president. Do you feel that? Because there's already things happening. You got Carrier and Ford and jobs and people investing in this country. And look, I don't know how many presidents tried to assassinate Fidel Castro, but 2 days after he's elected, Castro's dead. Not only that, but they asked him, true story, they asked Fidel Castro, what did you think about the election? And he said he was very disappointed because he had contributed $2 million to the Clinton Foundation, and the only thing he had to show for it was a cigar that smelled like Monica Lewinsky. I warned you. I warned you. Everybody know who Elizabeth Warren is? Okay. Right. She was the senator from Massachusetts who lied about being a Native American Indian so she could get a teaching job at Harvard. Right. And actually, Trump referred to as Pocahontas, which I thought was kind of funny. And look, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. She may be a Massachusetts hoe, but she's not a Navajo. And if she was Native American Indian and she was running for president, I would have a reservation about that. See how I did that? I took like reservation, like the Indians live on, and then the other kind of, and I combined it in one joke. That was very clever. Very clever. For this person, Rachel's done a lot, obviously, but this person I think has done more for the Trump campaign than anybody else. We need to acknowledge this, and that, of course, is Anthony Weiner. So, my question is, where does this guy go now? I mean, I have a bicycle store, and I know now there's something worse than waking up in the morning and realizing you're Lance Armstrong, and that's waking up in the morning and realize you're Anthony Weiner. And then there's, of course, his lovely wife, Uma Abedin. And by the way, Rachel, why didn't she ever take her married name? That'd make her Uma Weiner, right? If they had kids, they could call them Ima and Yora. And don't forget their Uncle Oscar Mayer. Thank you. All right, so we have a problem, and we've talked about that a little bit already with some of these speakers. The problem is that the left in this country owns 95% of the media, 95% of colleges and universities. They own damn near 100% of Hollywood. They might as well. And they also own 99% of what I feel is one of the most powerful political weapons of all, and that, of course, is humor. It's comedy, right? Because we all see the Bill Maher's and the Jon Stewarts and the SNLs. It's all targeted towards us. It's trying to make Trump look stupid, trying to make us look dumb, put us down, shut us up. If you do a Google search of conservative comedy, you know what comes up? Nothing. Nothing. Not only worse than that, what does come up is a bunch of articles saying how conservatives aren't funny. They're just not funny. So the worst thing, too, is 80% of millennials think that socialism is superior to capitalism. We have a problem. We have a problem. I actually had a young girl come in my bike shop, and she had a purse that had Chairman Mao on it, like a purse Mao. And I asked her, I said, do you know who that is? And she says, oh, yeah, that's Mao. And I'm thinking, when the hell did Mao become a fashion statement? I'm being serious. This is really a problem. When guys like one of the top mass murderers of all time is now something you want to put on your purse. It's unbelievable. And when did socialism become cool? I'm looking at this. Bernie Sanders, obviously one of the leading candidates, an outright socialist. Everybody think that's great. I'm thinking, when did this happen? I can't remember. It wasn't that long ago that being called a socialist was kind of an insult, wasn't it? Yeah. I got to give props to the left. I raced bicycles for a number of years. I trained my butt off and got to a fairly high level. And whenever there was somebody who was better than I was the first to congratulate them and say, hey, awesome, good job, man, good job. And I got to give props to the political left. What they have accomplished is nothing short of amazing. So while the rest of us were busy raising children, making a mortgage, these people were slowly but surely infiltrating colleges, universities, and the media to the point where they now own it. I got to give them props. They have done an amazing job. And if you think that these people are going to go quietly into the night, you're sadly mistaken. So I had the opportunity to listen to Dennis Prager speak. If you know who Dennis Prager is. Yep. And you had an opportunity to ask him a question. I thought, I got a question for him. And I got up there and I said, Dennis, I don't know how other people in this room feel, but I'm just really tired of losing. What do we have to do to win? That was my question. And his answer was, well, you have to understand that for them, for the political left, this is their religion. That was the answer. And I said, I guess, for me, that I respect Dennis Prager a lot. I think he's wonderful. He's one of my top 10 favorite speakers. However, I think that answer was lame for two reasons. Number one, I already know that. I already know that this is their religion. Conservatism's not my religion, nor am I a professional right-winger. But I understand that. The second reason I think that's lame is because the answer implies that they cannot be beat. So it's like saying radical Islam can't be beat because they're so religious about it, right? But if I've learned anything from this election, it's that, yes, in fact, they can be beat if we stand up and we fight and we don't back down. But I've come to you today with a message. Rachel was kind enough to invite me here, and also we're going to have our own little forum group when we're done here. But we've been given a gift. This is a gift. We were that close to pushing the country off a cliff, and Trump can't do it alone, as the other speakers said. So in conclusion, I want to say this. If you are pro-life and you are for religious liberty, this is your time. Make no mistake about it. If you find it unacceptable that we would give $150 billion to Iran and yet treat the nation of Israel like garbage, your time has come. And finally, I will say, if you are sick and tired of the never-ending parade of idiots and morons in the media and in colleges and universities across this country telling us all over and over again what a lousy, rotten, racist, sexist country we live in, your time has come.